Trying to trick that.
Are you ready? Okay, all right. Let's call the regular city council meeting to order for the city of Galena, Illinois, Monday, September 25th, 2023. Take roll, Mary Beth.
Marcy,
Here.
Johnson, Keeper.
Here.
Tegmeyer,
Here.
Westmeyer.
Here.
Weenan.
Here.
Renner.
Here, we have a quorum. Next is the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, then let's move ahead to item number 23C-0364, reports of standing committees. We have none tonight. Let's move ahead to item number 23C-0365, citizens' comments, not to exceed 15 minutes as an agenda item and not more than 3 minutes per speaker. If anybody wishes to address the council, step up to the podium, state your name and your address.
Barb Hocker, 606 Dewey Avenue. And I would just like to take this opportunity to thank you, Mayor, Mark, and the council for supporting the fire, the police, and EMSs in the active shooters training. It was amazing. So I think I hate to even think we have to do those kinds of things, but I just wanted to say thank you for supporting that and having that done.
Oh, Barb.
Good evening, Rick Terracer, 113 South High Street. Actually, two comments. One, briefly, I'm sure all of you have heard about this by now, but trees don't talk, but I can hear them crying loudly. Very sad what's going on in the city. I understand that they have to trim trees, but it looks like butchery, the way those trees have been cut up. I'd like to thank Councilperson Techmeyer for your comments last week about open government. I took that to heart. I hope others do too. People are behind you, so thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else at this time wishing to address the council?
I am Dr. Ryan Ricksteger. I'm here on behalf of Veterinary Associates. We just wanted to raise attention to the traffic problems on Franklin Street, the new Galena High School parking lot. At pickup and drop off times, it's been a real bottleneck. And it's definitely a concern for us as an emergency clinic. We can't get clients in on short notice, and we as doctors can't get out on short notice during these times. I mean, sometimes our emergencies are a matter of life or death, so we need a way to get through. We've even had people go as far as driving to our yard, and there is a water pipe that's not very visible that's right at the end of our driveway that if people don't pay attention, they could easily damage that.
Thank you, Doctor. Anybody else at this time wishing to address the council? Okay, let's move ahead then. The public hearings, we have none tonight. Liquor commission, there was none tonight. Let's move ahead to consent agenda CA 23-17. Some type of motion on this item number.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda CA 23-17.
Second,
Second.
we move to second on the consent agenda CA 23-17. Any questions on any of them? Take roll call on the consent agenda.
Keeper,
Yes.
Tegmeyer,
Yes.
Westland,
Yes.
Weenan,
Yes.
Bernstein,
Yes.
Renner.
Yes, motion carries. So we had then unfinished business. We have none tonight. Let's move ahead to new business. Let's move right into item number 23C-0372. Discussion and possible action on Country Fair weekend and Halloween weekend public parking lot plan. Some type of a motion on this? Oh, you got your hand up here? Oh, just you, what's my,
I'll make a motion that, that we keep Country Fair weekend and Halloween weekend, for the public parking lots, the same as they've been, and, for this year only. I'll second.
all right, to move second item number 23C-0372. Alderperson Westman, you want to elaborate on that?
Well, we just got this letter probably a couple weeks ago or so. The money has been budgeted, and whether we give 60 or 75 or 100%, I think we should wait until next year when the budget season comes up, and then we can, if we need to, then we can discuss it then.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree with Westy. I think we should leave it the way it is, and then if we want to talk about it next year, we can talk about it. Otherwise, just leave it the way it is. If we approve this, we're gonna have every organization in Galena asking us to waive their fees. It's just a snowball thing. So I don't think,
Well, what we're discussing here is that during those two busy weekends in town, our municipal parking lots are, cars are parked by organizations, whether it's the Boy Scouts, whether it's the band members, whether it's the basketball team, whether it's some other thing, other organizations. And what we usually do is split the proceeds. They get half of whoever parks in there, we take the other half. And that's what we were talking about in regards to, it's in our budget. We had already counted upon the $10,000 to $12,000 that we might make off of those two weekends. It's in our budget. And that's what the motion is about, that this year we'll leave it as is. We never got the request to say someone at 100% of everything. But anyway, we never got that until about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So saying that, that's what we're talking about up here. I know it wasn't explained very much in the thing here, but all the lots are split 50-50 with organizations during those weekends to help their organizations. So any other questions or discussion on Christian Tegmeyer?
I just wanted to further clarify, I think that's helpful, is to say that the Boy Scouts asked for 75 to 100% of the profits this year. So that's what brought it into discussion. But we've already budgeted as a city for the profits, and we want to make sure that if we change the percentage, it's fair across the board to all the groups, and that we haven't already spent the money on something else, you know. And then we were just discussing there might be creative ways to come up with like a minimum cap for someone who has a smaller lot, and then you get 50-50, so you're guaranteed, because we understand that these groups, they're supporting a lot with these couple weekends. So we just want to make sure it's fair, and we'll put it in place hopefully next year.
Thank you. Alderperson Pamplin.
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions about this since we're talking about it. Are these the only groups that come to the city and ask to do this? Or do we have others that, you know, we don't accept for whatever reason?
In regards to who's going to do what?
Yeah,
Well, if they do come to us, then like, you know, no matter where it is, we're going to have to start rotating out different.
yeah, and I wondered too whether these groups do this. For example, do the music boosters always do the Depot Park lot, or? Yeah. I think it would be equitable to rotate where they are from, not this time around, but in the future. I think we should take a look at that.
Now, you know, and that's a good idea also, but it does take a lot of people over there. And I don't know if these other organizations got that number.
Well,
That's the only
yeah.
downside there, but yeah, I
Sure.
understand what you're saying.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other discussion with this one? Or person came, you mentioned.
Yeah, I brought it up probably a year ago, but I do think that, yeah, they take parking lot money, but they also give directions and provide, you know, their ambassadors for the town. And so I would like to see it move to 75% next year. I'm fine with doing it this year. I understand the budget piece, but I think it should be moved up to 75%. It was at one time, they got everything, and somewhere along the line that changed.
What isn't written down or anywhere is that we have to pay overtime for our police that day, or, you know, on these events. So, you know, it's not like we're sticking that money in our pocket. We have to pay most of it back out for overtime for the public works and police department. So.
Okay. Anything else at this time? Take roll call on the motion.
Keeper,
Yes.
Tegmeyer,
Yes.
Westmeyer,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Bernstein,
Yes,
Renner.
Yes, motion carries. Move ahead then item number 23C-0373, discussion of possible action on the purchase of new benches for the recreational park. Do we have some type of motion on this? Alderperson Westman,
I'll make a motion that we purchase new benches for Recreation Park, 23C-0373.
I have a
Second.
All right, it's been moved second, item number 23C-0373, discussion on this.
Well, they're getting all rusty and in bad shape, and we have money in the budget for this, so I think it's about time we upgrade the benches.
I agree with that. They're all pretty well coated with plastic or some type of polyurethane type dressing, and that's wore off over the years and all the metal's exposed, and it's getting pretty rusty and sharp. Anything else on the benches for rec park? Take roll call.
Tegmeyer,
Yes.
Westmeyer,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Bernstein,
yes,
Keeper,
Yes.
Renner.
Yes, motion carries. Let's move ahead then to item number 23C-0374, discussion and possible action on policy for the use of herbicides for weed control. There's some type of motion on that. Alderperson Tate.
Yes, I make a motion to draft a policy in accordance with item 1, page 24 on the agenda that formally prohibits the use of all herbicides for weed control on city properties. Special use exceptions for item 3B for non-public use areas could be discussed on a case-by-case basis only after all non-chemical alternatives are exhausted. This is item 23C-0374. Second.
All right, it's been moved second on number 23C-0374. Discussion.
I'm excited that this is on here. Thank you for getting this on the agenda. We've had some issues with constituents and spraying, and so we stopped spraying and solved the problem temporarily, and now we're looking just to make some of the things that we've already done to benefit the residents, two-legged, four-legged, and plant to be able to be more in a healthy environment. And I think it's exciting and necessary to have the priority for the safest, sustainable solution. And I know I was talking about this with others as well, as far as possibly even exploring transitioning from fuel operated to electric weed trimmers. I think whenever we have the opportunity to do the next best thing for our environment, that's what we should do.
Okay, so your motion is formally prohibiting the use of all herbicides for weeds control on all city properties.
Yes, and I did add in, and I'm not sure, hopefully I did this correctly, that we could look, because we're just making a motion to draft a policy. So in the policy, if it's found that we need some special use exceptions that were on item 3B for those non-public use areas, like if we need to spray herbicide under the solar panels for whatever reason that I don't understand and it's safe for everybody, that then that's listed in the policy so that we've looked at each thing and we're not just blanketly approving one area or another.
I like the third option. It says everything she wants except, you know, to use it in non-public areas like another wastewater plant, solar array. But I don't want it anywhere where kids play or people, but I like the third option.
Okay, and the third option is to allow the use of non-synthetic naturally
Yeah.
occurring herbicides such as phenolic for weed control in certain areas. Is that what you're referring
Yes.
to? Or for sure,
Can somebody explain what finale is?
I believe that's the name, Brad.
Yeah.
I have a worksheet. Sorry.
So if you wanna.
So people know what,
It's not, does nothing to do with Roundup.
right, exactly. So
So
other people know what it is. I know we're just talking about it. What's the difference between Roundup and
City's
that?
got it.
Yeah. So
I
just-
was not prepared to read this
That's okay.
scientific
You don't-
jargon,
you don't have to read
yet
the whole
I
thing.
do
Just-
have it printed up. So, phenolic is a herbicide. It's a not, and correct me, Mark, if I get any of this, wrong, but this is from the EPA that I'm reading off of when they got approval and what they have to put on their labels. So just so you know what I'm reading from. So it is a weed control. It is a chemical, but it's not, it's not synthetic. But the issue, in my opinion, and we had used this instead of Roundup for years. How many years, Mark?
7.
So I think it's important for the public to know that we haven't used any Roundup for 7 years. So that officially being in our ordinances, I think is a great thing to know. But this phenolic has some problems as well. Because like you're supposed to not touch it for 24 hours, right? So we have to be in an area that can happen, right? So I think that there's some things or dangers with phenolic as well, which are covered if we do the 3B or the 3B plus or 1A minus, whatever we want to call it, as far as when we're coming up, how to use herbicides the very least, no matter which kind they are, the very least or not at all.
That kind of answers your question.
Yeah, I knew about it, but I didn't know if anybody else knew about it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But, like down at the solar panels, where they can't get under there to weed eat very well. Down there, it should be okay to use down there. You know, I agree with it shouldn't be around playgrounds and all that other stuff. But with, Perry Street, with all that rocks and everything in there and the bricks that we still have, unfortunately, on Water Street, it's like a weed garden on some of them, a lot of them. We're gonna have to hire anybody extra to go pick up the weeds out of the bricks and the cobblestone up on Perry Street there by the Victory Cafe.
Depends on the vocals. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Your turn.
Yeah. That's not what you said.
I say it depends on how Jerry's asked questions. It depends on how his vocals. But now it's up to you, Ken.
Thank you. A couple of things. In response to Jerry's comments and concerns, we could possibly try vinegar for those, when you're talking about when the weeds come up between the cracks in the bricks, that might be a possibility. And the other thing I just wanted to comment on the electric weed whackers. If we were able to transition to electric weed whackers, we'd save a lot of money because we wouldn't have to buy gasoline. I got an estimate from Jason Bingham today, just asked him to give me a ballpark idea of how much gasoline we used in those weed whackers over a season. And he said he thought it was about 100 gallons as best as they could estimate on short notice, which is a lot of gas. And, but I also understand that the electric weed whackers may not be up to the kind of intense use that the city, uses. So what I'm suggesting, and it doesn't have to be in the ordinances, let's buy one electric weed whacker and use it and see how it works. And if it meets our needs, we could consider transitioning fully next year.
Anybody else here? All right, you want to read the motion? Mary Beth.
I'm gonna defer to you, no?
Yeah.
She's gonna.
Motion to,
Okay,
motion to draft a policy in accordance with item 1, page 24 on the agenda that formally prohibits the use of all herbicides for weed control on city properties. Special use exceptions per item 3B for non-public use areas could be discussed on a case-by-case basis only after all non-chemical alternatives are exhausted. Item 23C-0374.
all right. Everybody understand that? All right. Take roll call, Mary Beth.
Westmeyer,
Yes.
Beeman,
Yes.
Bernstein,
Yes.
Keeper,
Yes.
Tegmeyer,
Yes.
Renner.
Yes. All right, let's try that for a year and see what happens. Okay, let's move ahead then to item number 23C-0375, U.S. Water Monthly Report on water and sewer operations and maintenance. Tonight we have Andrew with us. Andrew, how you doing?
Great. All right. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is Andrew Schuler, and the report covers U.S. water operations and maintenance for the city, the Galena water and sewer system for the month of August. Excuse me. Wastewater treatment plant, wastewater plant treated 13,583,000 gallons this month. That's a decrease of 4,437,000 gallons, probably due to less rain, so less I&I. Plants were operating great, so we're good there. Drinking water, we produced a total of 15,426,000 gallons, which was an increase of 1,340,000 gallons from July. So we're up a little bit. So billing was 70% bill and 29% lost revenue. And then compared to July, that was 76 billing and 23 loss. So,
Probably next month will be a little bit different with the water break, so. Are you thinking?
Stopped pretty quick.
Okay.
We'll be working with Highway 20 Fishers. I think they still just got West Street up to the dead end past Charles from Coxwell office is the next main section they have to do, and they're going to tie in West Street. And I think they still got to do something at Dodge Street still too. So it's going pretty good. So expenses, the budget looked a lot better than last year for August. So we are $635 difference right now. So any questions on the budget? So we're going to continue flushing hydrants in Industrial Park, Horseshoe Mound, and normal O&M maintenance facility and wells.
Okay, any questions? Go ahead.
Besides old pipes, what was the reasoning for the two on Franklin Street or Franklin Street?
Yeah, we had one on Hill Street and we had one on Franklin. We had one on 3rd and Adams.
Matt, you want to come on up and explain with that, or Andy, what the process was the other night?
Good evening, everybody. So as part of our ongoing efforts to make our water system more resilient, We've been putting in more, components to certain controls and valves throughout the system. We recently put in a 2-inch PRV on Hill Street to allow more stable flow into the west zone, the industrial zone. The next step after that was to make an adjustment on our Dodge Street standpipe. There's a pressure reduction and pressure sustaining valve in that. And we wanted to make a minor adjustment to make the water level go up and down more in that tower, so we have better water quality and better overall flow for the system. So we made that adjustment on Thursday afternoon. Plan to elevate the tower a little bit, so it would be like 5 pounds over pressure normal, which is kind of a normal fluctuation in the system anyway. Things were holding off stable for that afternoon, and then around 9 o'clock that night, the Hill Street main popped. That main that broke is, I think, about 137 years old. It's 1886 water main. And it's actually in pretty good shape despite the hole that's in it. But when we were trying to isolate that, pressure relief valves are trying to keep up with the demand that's flowing out of that open hole in the system, and then it keeps those open. We were trying to get that isolated, and the continuing pressure changes in that finds other weak points in the system. And that's what popped 3rd Street over by Adams. So that was isolated that evening. We had another break on Franklin Street following morning, probably related to the changes in pressure and finding another weak spot. So what we're ultimately trying to do, though, is to eliminate those weak areas, replace where we can, use the control systems to provide better pressures for people, and provide better water quality for people, provide better looping. We're working on accountability every day. We learned of certain valves that were off that probably shouldn't be. So as we find these things out, we are using that to the betterment of our water system. So we apologize for the disruption it causes the public, but we are working to make it better.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Any questions for Andrew or Matthew on any of this stuff at this point? Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move in on 23C days 0376, the warrants. Do I have a motion on the?
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, for sure, you keep it.
I hope we approve the warrants with the additional 1, 2 for loan origination fee for $500 to First Community.
Yeah.
First Community Bank of Galena. Item 23C 0376.
Okay, the second on the,
Second.
the move second on item 23C days 0376, the warrants. Any questions on any of the bills? Okay, take roll call. Very good.
Lehman,
Yes.
Bernstein,
Yes,
Schieffer,
Yes.
Tegmeyer,
Yes.
Westmeyer,
Yes.
Brennan.
Yes. Motion carries. Let's move in item number 23C days 0377, on person Jerry Westmeyer.
I'd like to thank Hillary for the full report, well written, and your staff, of course. Had a good year. Unfortunately, we have to replace the roof. But overall, thank you very much and your staff. And hopefully a lot of them will come back next year. And the downtown looking good and clean.
On person.
well, I remember for a while when we made our comments, people would say ditto. Well, guess what? Yes, thank you, Hillary, very much. Really, really good job.
All right. Thank you. Oh, Chris Kate.
Okay, I'm not gonna talk about any of those. I just want to thank everybody for their patience with the traffic, and I think as our town evolves and, we add a turning lane that, we've always wanted, and redo the highway so that we're not going through water and there's not sticks floating over. 20 is just kind of like the perfect storm. So it's good. We just have to make it through it and be better. So I know there's a lot of frustration out there, but appreciate the patience. As far as the water main breaks, I think that maybe I'm not signed up for Code Red like I think I am. I think we could have done a better job about notifying the public in a faster fashion on Friday than what we did. So hopefully that can be addressed for the next water main break, because I'm sure there will be one, unfortunately. And then I would like a little bit more detail. Matt, you said something about that there are some valves that are just simply off. And where those are and what that affects. And I think there's some things up on Magazine Street that were from the highway, but not from the highway. So if we could get a little bit more detail, I think Andrew does a fabulous report for us and the pictures is appreciated, but if we could dive into that a little bit so we could be more proactive, I think going forward would be great.
Okay, thank you. All appreciate it. Cindy.
Hi, you can say Cindy today, right? I wanted to say, yeah, thank you for the improvements in the water system. It's difficult to say the least. And I'm looking forward to, as Katie mentioned, I'm looking forward to the further improvements in the communication for when these things go wrong, whether it's with something with IDOT construction or with the water main breaks, and hopefully, you know, some things with a website that can be updated quickly. Hopefully that will happen with that. So I'm looking forward to those improved communications, because that's what a lot of my constituents are reaching out to me about, is that they just want to know what's happening a little quicker, which isn't always possible, but. And I also just wanted to say thank you. I attended Thursday through Saturday, the Illinois Municipal League Conference in Chicago, and I learned a lot. And you'll be happy to know I don't have all those learnings for you here today. But I did attend very many sessions, and I'm looking forward to making the connections and seeing how we can, you know, beg, borrow, and steal some ideas and money. So that's it.
All appreciate it.
I like all the construction going on in Galena. I especially like all the new roads we got up in my ward, so they look very nice.
All right, thank you. Let's go ahead and item number 23C-0378, City Administrator's Report. Mark?
Thank you. Those new roads aren't only in your ward, they were
Well, yeah.
multiple wards, yeah.
Let's talk about my ward.
I was going to mention that we did about $600,000 worth of street paving over the last 2 weeks. That's the whole program. I think that is the largest program that we've ever done. So hopefully the community is appreciative of that. I think it looks great. The Tractor Supply annexation, public hearing on the annexation agreement will be at the next meeting. So they've already gone through the zoning process, and the zoning board is going to recommend rezoning the former Bartel farm, those 4 acres, appropriately for Tractor Supply. So we have that to look forward to. And all the people mentioned the pool report, which I also was going to mention that I thought was excellent, as well as the financial report. I think that report doesn't get much discussion or attention, but I want to thank Jen Schmidt for producing that each month. I think if you've been watching it over the years, it's at a level now that is just excellent. So there's a lot of information there for the council and the public. And one last thing on the Code Red that Alderperson Green mentioned. We were attempting to send the message out as we do. We've sent out, we're using it all the time. We used it all summer with all the highway related water issues we had. But that particular day, there was something wrong with that system on the software level. And I myself worked on it for about 4 hours and finally gave up, because I've sent out so many messages over the year, but that day it just was not working for some reason. So haven't had time to follow up on that, but we'll make sure it's ready for the next one.
Yes. Okay, that'd be it, Mark.
Yep.
All right, let's move into item 23C-0379, Mayor's Report. I too have to agree with Richard in regards to the tree trimmers in town. They kind of stripped the trees pretty good. I think remarks should be made known to the people that have been doing this. I wish they would have took a little more care with what they were doing and how they were doing it, but they kind of butchered the trees, I thought. And so, I mean, we expressed our feelings towards that. Again, Hillary, one more time, good job. Nice report, very detailed. Chief Hayfo on the active shooter stuff, I want to thank you and the EMS and also to all the good volunteers that laid there with red on them. So it worked out very well up there. And construction's still going on, like everybody says. So eventually it'll all be done and we'll be happy. So saying that, that's all I have tonight. Entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Peggy Wheaton, all in favor, second by Pam Beachy, take over.
Bernstein,
Yes.
Keeper,
Yes.
Tegmeyer,
Yes.
Westermeyer,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Renner.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all.